my God, Jenn.
That was bananas.
Jenn,
That was
that
so
was
crazy. It
that
was you
was
being like, well, so and so also left us hanging. I think it was Lisa Crone, maybe, and
no.
maybe she'll show up. Maybe she'll accept my request. I'm like, I'm accepting. I'm, I'm
I don't
trying
know
real
what
hard.
happened,
I,
but I've never been so happy to see you. I mean, what a
I
fresh
couldn't.
face.
I was
This
like, I
is
can't defend myself. I'm, I, 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 I'm trying
well,
so
so
hard.
people are going crazy right now. Somebody was like, "It's the Queen." Thank God the Queen has joined me.
You were
I'm
so
so
sweet.
happy to
Thanks for
see
your
you.
patience. I was doing
Oh,
everything I could.
I know.
I
I know
really
you
felt
were.
powerless.
I know, I
It was
know. We're
bad.
going to talk about that tonight. We're going to take a deep dive into powerlessness tonight. No, we're going to talk about, we're going to just kind of ease our way out of that. We're here. You and I are so deeply connected on so many levels.
You're right.
And I'm so happy to have you here. So I'll introduce myself. We spoke really briefly in an email communication, but Julie Novak here. I am a member of an all queer arts collective called the Future Perfect Project. And what we do is, in our mission, is we believe that the amplification of LGBTQAI plus youth is a declaration of a better future for us all. So we work to amplify their voices, their stories, their artistic expression, and we do that by providing free workshops all over the United States. We were traveling before the pandemic hit, and then we found a really great way to do it all online with online workshops, and then we branched out into creating more media like animations. We created an album for folks watching. If you go to Spotify or Bandcamp, you can look up the Future Perfect Project Generation Reclamation, all original songs by LGBTQ youth. And we also launched this series, Jenn. I'm so happy that we finally got connected. Um, so each Monday we get one of our favorite LGBTQ icons, that includes you, talking about queerness and your art and your expression. And for me, what we do is, all of us in Future Perfect Project Collective are autobiographical artists, and a lot of our work, the intersectionality between our personal work and the work we do with the young people is evident because we've got this experience. As a queer person, I just, off the bat, first tell us a little bit about what you do and what that intersectionality might be between the art you do and how you can reach young people.
It's been so interesting. First of all, thanks for having me, and thank you for your patience and getting me to join and caring about what I have to say and
Very
including me.
much.
I'm very, very honored, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, and I'll just say that I didn't know that being a queer icon was going to be part of being an actress. I didn't even consider that as a thing, and I'm so glad that it is. I I love being able to connect with other queer artists and with other queer people. And I just think that it's cool that because I'm following my heart and doing what I love to do, and I also happen to be queer, I get to connect with all of these people. The fact that I am now being like sought out to play queer characters because I'm gay feels like another bonus. You know, it's just
Yes.
dope. It's incredible. I just didn't know that that was going to be a part of my career at all. And there's a responsibility that comes with it because
Mm.
I want to be a good leader. And so I just try to lead with kindness and gratitude and honesty. And the fans have just been so sweet and supportive. I like right now, this is new to me, obviously, the live, since it took me 17 minutes to
Yeah.
join. But
It's okay.
look, like Adam's giving me some love. That's my buddy telling me he
Yeah.
likes my top. Oh, look at all the
Yeah.
hearts.
I
Like
like the
there's,
glasses. The
thanks.
look is on point for an
Thanks so
icon,
much.
for an
I really,
LGBTQIA icon.
I really
You're nailing
appreciate it.
it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So talking about, being a queer icon and not realizing that was what was going to happen when you became an actor. Two questions. First off, a lot of us talk about um, when we talk to folks now, like what the Future Perfect Project is doing is something me and Celeste and Emma and all of our coworkers are like, I wish we had this when we were younger. And I'm wondering for you, like, we obviously didn't. You're from about the same generation as me. What was your first exposure to queerness? What was the first thing you learned about it?
It was Joe in the Facts of Life for
All
me.
right, so that was like a peripheral queerness, but that was
That's right.
like you know what I'm
That was
saying?
just
Like,
me wanting her to be queer.
right.
That was just me hoping that Nancy McKeon was
Yeah.
queer. It was Ellen DeGeneres.
Mm.
I remember very clearly her show and that beautiful scene where she's in the airport and she leans over and says, "I'm gay,"
Yeah.
and and then the repercussions that happened after, and she was canceled, her show was canceled, and then
Yeah.
she came back with that beautiful stand up. Growing up, we didn't have very many gay women, especially to look up to. I just didn't see a lot of them. Billie Jean King was like another one, but like, right, there weren't very many actors or like women in entertainment that I could see. My little dog is trapped in a room.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know all
Hi,
about little
buddy.
dogs.
Hi,
I
sweetie.
went away from mine to
Come
do this with
on.
you tonight.
Okay, yeah, no, she was just trying to get her little head out. Then no worries.
What's
My
your little
friend,
dog's name?
this is Stella Colella.
Stella
Stella,
Colella.
say hi, buddy. Say
Hey,
hi.
Stella. Great for you to
Hi.
be here. Stella, when did you come out? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. This
You
is
know
about
what? I
Jen.
think she might be straight, and I'm gonna love her the same. But I
You
did
can
have
come
some
out as
hopes.
straight, I guess.
I did have some hopes.
Yeah.
So we didn't have very many icons, women
Yeah.
icons, and I think Ellen DeGeneres was just a big one for me. I just was so grateful that she was
Yeah.
out and putting herself out there in that way.
How did that lack of visibility hurt? Like what were the things that you learned about being queer where you knew it was like I need more of this. Nobody's visible and I probably shouldn't be, but like what were some of the messages you got?
It's so interesting. I didn't realize that I was hurting from it until
Mm.
people within the industry were telling me not to come out. And people whom I
Mm.
trusted, like a director who's gay, who was like, don't do it. Don't come out.
Wow.
It's not going to help you. It's not going to, people are going to think about it. And I believed him. And then I did Bebo Brinker Chronicles, which you
Yeah.
mentioned. And I
Yeah.
was playing this incredible butch, beautiful character, and it just felt silly. I had all these incredible different gay magazines and newspapers that wanted to talk to me, and I was like, I have to come out. This is
Yeah.
nuts. And so I like took this leap and came out, and the best part is like nobody cared. You know what I mean? The people who I was worried that were going to, like, I don't know, look at me different or attack me or that it was going to negatively affect my career, that didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
If anything, I got this outpouring of love. Like I'm feeling with these hearts and these sweet messages coming
Yes.
through, people saying thanks, like thank you for stepping out and for being somebody that we can see
Yeah.
on stage and in the world, being a good person who happens to be queer. So
And you're making it easier for the next generation to come out, the next queer actor or a comedian turned musical theater. How did that happen?
I don't know. I
How
still
did you
don't know.
start off in comedy? Tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, I've always loved to sing, and so I think that's how musical theater got me. But I was doing comedy because I was living in LA and was just out of grad school, and people were always like, Jen, you should do stand up, and it just terrified me. So I thought, if anything that terrifies me that much, I need to try to do. And so I just leapt and started writing sets, and then became a regular at the Laugh Factory and the Comedy Store,
Mm.
and was kind of I wanted to use that as a method to be more visible within that particular industry, and then musical theater like got me. Like I did not know that was going to be my path. And Urban Cowboy was the first show that I booked, and
Yeah.
I just fell in love with the whole thing, the community, being able to sing and dance and fight and ride a mechanical bull. I was like, this is how am I going to go back to
Yeah. Talk about Butch right there, sissy.
That's right.
Sissy.
That's
Amazing.
right. Well done.
So the comedy also was kind of a subversive. I mean, there was queerness in the comedy as well, or
For
has
sure.
been, and there still is. I mean, are you still performing comedy as much as you're doing musical theater and acting?
No, I don't do as much stand-up. The way that I've kind of integrated what I learned as a stand-up comedian is in my concerts. Like if I have a concert, I don't, a lot of artists will like plan exactly what they're going to say. It's kind of a script in between the songs, and I don't do that. I try to just kind of feel, first of all, where I am. Last year,
Mm-hmm.
this time, I did a show in Alaska and a show in San Francisco. Same set, same band, but completely different shows because different comedy, different audiences.
Yeah.
The one in San Francisco, I kept saying the word pussy because I thought that that was funny because there was I
It
didn't hear like
is.
one
You're
slipped
getting
out and
me
then I
right
was like,
there.
oh my God, what if I just kept saying that and we all had to drink every time I said it? And
Uh,
so sometimes I'd slip it correctly into the conversation where it makes sense, and then other times I'd just be like, for no reason. Look at the
yeah,
hearts. There we
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Nice.
we're come on. Okay, there we go. They're flowing
Yeah,
again. I was
yeah,
like, wait a minute, they slowed down. Come back for
yeah.
pussy. Um, so, so what is something that you talking about this responsibility? What as a queer person um, do you hope to maybe change about the way? I mean, it's gotten better, but it's still real rough. What are some of the things that you hope to do with your visibility for young
Well,
people?
I think just keep being myself, keep being honest, keep being out. I'm relatively new to Instagram. Social media kind of scares me, but I understand the importance of connecting to people and that people, part of being a leader in this industry as an actor is also sharing a part of myself, which feels scary, but I think that that helps. Like you said, if there's one queer person watching today that's like, oh, I've also wanted to be an actor, or I didn't know that people like me could be actors or follow their heart and do what they want to do in the world, then thumbs up. So I have to keep being honest. I have to keep being out. I have to keep being present. And then I would love to continue to take on gay roles and queer
Mm,
roles. And I am a
yeah,
huge advocate for seeing new work that tells queer stories. And I think we need a lot more of that.
yeah,
I'm cool with revivals for the moment.
yeah.
I would really like to see some new lady stories, quite
Yeah,
honestly.
oh my God, totally. We have to create them.
Yeah.
So what you talked about your first kind of exposure to queerness, but when did you really claim your queerness? Like I don't like to say when did you come out because
hmm
it's different than really kind of stepping into yourself and maybe finding community. When were you able to like be with yourself and be like, oh, this is who I am, this is what I like, and I can feel proud of it?
I like that. That's a really cool way to kind of couch that. I would say probably my senior year of college. I fell in love with an incredible woman, and I proposed to her immediately.
Oh,
And
sweet.
and I just was so overcome with the fact that it felt right in my bones, finally. I'd had lovely boyfriends, and
Mm,
it wasn't that like, oh, men were awful, and it wasn't that at all. I had wonderful relationships with guys. It just wasn't the same for me. When I
yeah.
connected in this way with a woman, I felt love and passion collide, and I was like, this is my center. This is who I am, and it just
Yeah.
felt so exciting. So that was like probably my senior year of college, of
Yeah.
undergrad. Yeah.
And there was like no going back. And did you find that when you got involved in the industry, was there queer community in there too that helped kind of you had the folks that were like, don't do it, don't come out. But did you have the other folks that were like, Jen, you need to do this, like just do it? And
You know
how did
what?
that help
Not,
you? How
I
did community
wasn't
help
getting a
you?
lot. I wasn't getting a lot of support for people to tell me to come out, and I also wasn't seeking community. That was my fault. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I knew gay people, but I wasn't comfortable enough myself to talk about the coming out process. And there also still at that point weren't a lot of out gay women in theater.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well,
I was still feeling kind of alone in that regard.
yeah. Aside from the scarcity in media, do you feel like was there a real personal incident in your life where you knew that this was something you probably shouldn't talk about, like when you were younger, like was,
Well, I
you
grew up
know,
in the South. I grew up in
okay.
South Carolina, and it just wasn't talked about. And if it was in a derogatory way. There was nothing to celebrate. There was that whole like, you know, Christian right situation
Yeah, it's
that
intense. Yeah.
was so scary because of, because they weren't very inclusive. So it was hard because I sang in choir. I sang in church service like two services every
Mm,
Sunday because I love singing in choir. I did handbells. They were
wow.
always trying to give me the tiny little bells because I was little,
And you were
but I
like,
wanted the big,
yeah, yeah,
like I
yeah,
was
yeah,
down because I wanted to sing and I wanted to be of service,
yeah,
and I wanted to learn the messages of being a better person. But then when I realized that I might be gay, I could feel them kind of disapproving. So I think it was growing up in the South and in this strong right-wing conservative place that that had me a little shut down to begin with,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is a shame.
It is. It is. And on that note, we talk about, Celeste always put it so beautifully that when they first started going around the country and working with young people, queer young people, they noticed these kids are living in a future that hasn't arrived yet. They know stuff that we don't know,
That's right.
and it got
Sorry,
them thinking.
my
Oh,
buddy's making a
that's
drink. No
okay.
worries. Totally
No
fine.
problem. Shaken, not
Yeah, do
stirred.
I get one? What are we making? Yeah.
So we, they're living in a future in a sense. Celeste talks about living in a future that didn't exist yet when they knew that the homophobia was wrong and that one day it would be different. How do you feel like as a young person you were living in a future that hadn't yet arrived?
Again, I think we always are, right? Like we're constantly in that space, and it's like you said, we still have so much longer to go. I think I knew in my heart that this was a path, that like coming out is you don't just do it once, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of times where um, I just we're constantly this present moment right now is also something that we're going to try to better for the future, right? I remember going to my very first gay pride
Mm.
parade, and it was in South Carolina,
Oh
and
wow.
I was so excited to like finally be out and proud. But in this particular march, there were more protesters than marchers. And what
Wow.
we had to do was kind of like have our little flags and walk as quietly as possible through a bunch of people who were screaming at us and holding up signs that were filled with vitriol and hate, and make our way to the Capitol steps and be like, we're gay though, please don't hurt us. And then I
Yeah.
came to New York, talking about like knowing in my heart that there was a future that it was better. And I came to New York and I went to my first gay pride in New York, and I couldn't believe the size of it. It was actually a celebration.
That
It
was my
wasn't a
first
like
one.
we can
Yeah.
do it. Oh my God. And so then that was your first one?
Yeah, in
Was
New
oh,
York. And then
forget
the
it.
Dyke March. I went to the Dyke March too, and I was just like,
The
what?
dykes on bikes, the topless women on motorcycles, forget it.
So amazing.
Oh my God, I was crying and
Yeah.
screaming and like I just couldn't believe all the subsets. It was like men who
Yeah.
love bears, bears who
Yeah.
have otters, like cops who are also otter bears. It was beautiful. It was so stunning. And then seeing families. I remember seeing straight allies. I remember seeing gay families. I remember seeing, I couldn't believe straight people were there and being sweet. I was like, oh, y'all are here just to be sweet to us?
Yeah.
That just, it was not something that I knew was possible in that moment, but a part of me kind of did. Does that make sense? Does that?
Oh, yeah, totally. I wonder too, talking about thinking about allyship, there are young people that are watching this, that are out there that we work with who don't always have the safest space. Like during the pandemic, I mean, online communication has been so transformative because they're actually taking this time to explore their identities, through texting and things that are a little bit more on the DL. But there's this statistic from the Trevor Project talking about one caring person in the life of an LGBTQIA plus individual decreases the chances of suicide by some large percentage. What difference did an ally make in your life? Like, was there a time when you thought, okay, I'm not necessarily being accepted here or being listened to here, but somebody's got my back and I can hold on to that a little bit?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it was once I came out and then I realized there was a huge community around me of support. And
Yeah.
Trevor Project was actually really big. And realizing that there are all these different organizations that are designed to help, realizing that every gay person has a story of fear and oppression, and just trying to be vulnerable enough to share what was scary about it for me and to look for my community. So there were
Yeah.
several different pathways for me once I opened my eyes and heart to it.
Yeah, yeah. There are so many ways to connect now online, including if you're just joining us. I'm Julie Novak from the Future Perfect Project, and this is FPP Live. Every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we sit down and have a nice chat with one of our favorite LGBTQIA plus icons. Tonight is Jenn Colella. I'm so happy to have you here. If you want to check out, if you're a young person between the ages of 13 and 22, we have a varied offering of programs for you. They're all free. Everything we do is free.
So,
It's amazing.
so great.
You can go to thefutureperfectproject.com. Follow us right here at the Future Perfect Project on Instagram. And tomorrow for any young people that are joining us who haven't been involved in our workshops yet, if you go to our website, you can sign up. And we're actually having a really great workshop tomorrow led by Z Infante and Emma Jane Soslowski called Choosing My Religion, a little play on,
So,
REM. So two more questions. So what is your idea? Or actually, if you could say anything right now to queer youth watching, what would you say?
I would say you're enough. You are enough. Exactly as you are right now, even with all of your sadness, with all of your hope, everything that makes you who you are in this moment is exactly right. I always say this to acting students because I wish someone had said it to me, and it applies to just being a person on the planet, certainly a queer person. The more we can trust that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, with all our flaws and all the growth that we still have,
Mm,
to just start to keep the voice in our own heads a little more kind, to start to
yeah,
listen. I'm all about kindness, Julie, and it's easy for me to give it and to put it out in the world, but I've learned that I'm not the greatest at being kind to myself, and
yeah,
so I can hear this voice in my head that's very critical sometimes, and I have realized that I need to keep that voice a little kinder. So trust that I'm enough, keep being kind to myself, and just let you know that you're not alone. Nobody is
yeah,
alone. There are moments when I've felt woefully alone and have realized that I have this whole community around me. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for what you're doing and looking out for our younger folks. It's just a beautiful, beautiful service that you're providing. Way to be of service on this planet, my
thank
friend.
you. And we're so lucky that we get to do this work. I mean, it's just amazing. It's beautiful, and so lucky to get to be sitting here talking to you. You're so awesome.
I
You're
feel the
such a
same
cool
way.
person. So last couple questions here. First one is, oh, and also I want to say again, Jenn had mentioned the Trevor Project. If you are a youth or anyone out there alone between the ages of, I think, 13 and 24,
Hmm.
you can go to the trevorproject.org, or you can call the Lifeline. And I think Celeste, oh, it's in the chat. All
Boom.
the info is put in the chat by the Trevor Project co-founder and Future Perfect Project co-founder Celeste Lacine. Um, in the bio, and it's in our info if you look at the Future Perfect Project. So check that out first and foremost. What is your idea Jenn, of a perfect future?
My idea of a perfect future is one that is just steeped in compassion for one another. If we can all learn to be kind and compassionate for ourselves and each other, it's going to be a lot easier to believe that we are all enough. We're all here to be of service to ourselves and to each other. A perfect future involves no hate, just love and acceptance and beauty and compassion. And I think, compassion and kindness and gratitude are the start of that kind of world that we want to create. And there's a shift of consciousness happening now. So we can
Mm.
do it. We just have to get through all of this ugliness first. We're like giving birth to the future that we want.
Yeah, yeah, right. And remembering that kindness and compassion, like you were saying before, just to really give it to ourselves with no preamble, with no qualifier, just
Right.
bring it, bring that love, bring that self-care. So yeah, if you need to contact Trevor, you can text 678-678, or you can call 1-866-488-7386. Why don't you leave us with a little bit about upcoming projects? What are you working on right now?
Well, there's one that I'm pretty excited about, called The Flame on the Les Hangout podcast. If you heard of this podcast,
Oh, no, but I
Les
love it
Hangout,
already.
LEZ Hangout podcast. Check them out. They've been kicking it for a while, and these women are extraordinary. And there's a lesbian musical called The Flame, with a predominantly lesbian cast, and it's so dope. I'm stoked about it. It comes out in June. And then I am still working on Call It Love with Shalina Kennedy, which
Hmm.
is another beautiful story about being who you are and the courage to be who you are and to choose who to love, because that's who your heart has led you to. And
Yeah.
so those two things I'm stoked about. I'm also gonna do the live capture of Come From Away. So we
Somebody
start
was just
filming
asking.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely filming Come From Away, and stoked about that. We all go into quarantine together
Nice.
in a couple of weeks. So I just can't wait to get back into the captain's seat and
Yeah.
to revisit that. I think that should be on one of the streaming, like Netflix or Disney Plus,
All right.
in the
Great.
fall. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my
It was
gosh,
a
thanks for having me.
great to talk to you and to hear about
Likewise.
your journey and to hear about new projects. And so excited for Come From Away. Can't wait to see it. It says Jordan _Abel.
Yeah, yeah,
Lorna
sweet.
Snaps is doing some shout outs. So, folks, thank you all so much for being here. And we had a little bit of a lag at the beginning, but we finished with a
Yeah, dude,
bang.
we sure
Um,
did.
Jenn Colella, amazing, beautiful
Thank you,
person. Thank you
Julie. I
for being
appreciate
here.
you, love.
Check out thefutureperfectproject.com for more information about all the programs we do. They're totally free for LGBTQIA plus youth. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, love.
Bye.